Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be loving versus liking. So, the inspiration for the topic that I'm going to talk about today was actually with a phone session I had with a client recently. And this is something that really is more of an art than it's going to be a science. And really, like for me personally, and all the clients I've helped over the years, it's something that you kind of learn to use intuitively based on life experience. Because the reality is, I just turned 50 a couple of days ago. And the reality is, as you go through life and you get experiences, things that you were once excited about no longer have the same passion and enthusiasm. And that could be a job, it could be a career, it could be a car that you once thought was the most awesome car in the world, and now after you've had it and driven around for several years, there's something better that you want. Maybe the person that you're in a relationship with, you were really excited the first few months or the first year or two, but now the internal enthusiasm is gone. And so you're going to be faced with situations where the internal enthusiasm is not what it once was, and you're not going to feel like you want to continue moving in the current direction. And a lot of times I see in my phone sessions is people stuck in these kinds of situations. And this particular one, this guy was very good at what he had done. And that's, one of the things I talk about a lot is passion and heart and loving something. Because when you really, truly love something, you'll be really great at it because, again, it doesn't feel like work. It kind of feels like playing to a degree. And the more your life is filled up with activities and people and events of things that you're excited about and that make you come alive on the inside, the better you're going to be in your job, the better you're going to be in your career, the more successful your business is going to be. Same thing goes for your friendships. Same thing goes for your intimate relationships. You got to have that fire and that passion. Because, you think about it. You're on a date with a girl and you're like, yeah, she's kind of cute, but I don't really like talking to her. It's going to be hard to carry on a conversation with her versus somebody you're on a date with who you think is the most beautiful thing you've ever laid eyes on, and you're fascinated by her, and you want to know everything about her. When you're with somebody like that, you never run out of things to say. You're excited about what, even if she's talking about a dirty pair of sneakers, you're excited to just listen because you like her. And that's the important thing. There's way too many of us in this world that our job sucks, our career sucks, our business sucks, the people that we spend our time with suck, and oftentimes the people that we're in relationships suck. But yet we don't do anything about it. And so the goal with going through this process is kind of reflect on what I went through with this particular client, because he had a career issue. It's like he kind of maxed out in the position that he was at, but he's getting up every day and not really excited about going to work. And because of that, he's kind of unsure of himself. He's unsure of his purpose. And this is having a negative effect on his dating life. Because if you're not excited about your life, if you're not excited about what you're doing, it's going to be pretty hard to get other people excited about it. When someone says, what do you do for a living? You're like, well, it's a job. It pays the bills versus I fucking love what I do. I get up in the morning and I'm thinking about what I do. When I go to sleep, I lay awake in bed for an hour every night because I'm so excited about what I'm going to do the next day. It's two completely different vibes that you're giving off, and a woman I'd obviously much rather be with a guy who's excited about his life and his future and where he's going, not a guy that's getting up every day bitching about it but not doing anything about it. And this particular client recognized that I'm not fulfilled, I'm not excited, and what do I do now? And that's one of the things I do with a lot of people by asking a series of questions where we're doing the phone session, is to get down to what they're really into, what they're really passionate about. And it's really hard for a lot of people to come up with these things, because when you got your limiting beliefs getting in the way and part of your story, it's that deep down subconsciously you're going, Nah, man, you can't pull that off. Nah, it's not gonna. That girl won't go out with you. Nah, you'll never get a job there. Nah, that raise you want, it's not gonna happen. You're kind of unrealistic. You don't have the experience for that. Whatever it happens to be, these little things that run around in our head sabotage our success and keep us from moving forward. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we're gonna get a little more in depth into this. And the quote says, "We work hardest at and invest the most energy into things and people we love. When your life's work makes every fiber of your being come alive with passion and satisfaction, it feels more like playing than working. When your lover sets your heart and soul on fire, it makes everything better. The more you love who and what you do, the harder you will work at making it a masterpiece. The more you value and enjoy someone or something, the more of your time, energy, and resources you'll invest to make and keep it great. Reaching your full potential is simply about investing your time and focus in the passionate pursuit of all that sets your soul on fire so it becomes your daily reality." And there's a great quote that we posted on, this is from actually Kobe Bryant, who just passed away in the past week. And one things I learned from probably 30 years ago, I think Tony Robbins was the first person that said it. He said, "Success leaves clues." And if you've been following me for a while, obviously you've heard me talk about this over and over. But when you see the people that are the best of the best and the top of their game and have done just absolutely exceptional things, you hear and see a common thread. And so I'm going to read this quote to you from Kobe. He says, "The lesson I cherish the most is how important it is to love what you do. If you love what you do and it's making you happy, all the hard work and perseverance will pay off. I once had a guidance counselor tell me that I shouldn't play basketball, that it would never amount to anything for me. His negativity towards me made me stronger." Remember, masculine energy grows through challenge. So that guidance counselor was basically challenging him. And it's kind of when you're a kid and the coach is like, "You suck," get on the sideline. He's like, "No, I can do it, coach." It's basically what happens. His masculinity was challenged, his heart and his passion, and it made him work even harder. He says, "His negativity towards me made me stronger. You can't stop people from trying to limit your dreams, but you can stop it from becoming your reality. Your dreams are up to you. I encourage you to always be curious, always seek out things you love, and always work hard once you find it." It's pretty powerful. I mean, it's just exactly the things I've been talking about year after year in these videos and these articles that I've written. Because again, success leaves clues. So back to my client that we're talking about. So this particular guy was basically in the, he was in the construction industry, similar to what I used to do. And it was so interesting when I do phone sessions with people, they have such a similar path. And so he had gotten the company that he was working for, he really had a passion for what he was doing, negotiation and solving problems. And obviously, if you're going to work in the construction industry, you got to like mechanical things. You got to like solving problems. You got to like negotiation to a degree because you're negotiating contracts. And so he got to be, again, because he had a passion for it and he was doing something that he really loved, he got noticed by other people. And eventually he had another company that heard about him because his reputation preceded him. And so here's an instance of a guy in his career that's doing exceptional work, and people talk about him because we all recognize exceptional people, whether we're eating out at a restaurant or we bought a new car, or we got somebody to fix our car or build us a house, whatever it happens to be, and they do an exceptional job. Quite frankly, most of us are used to not seeing people doing exceptional work. And so therefore we recognize it and we appreciate it when somebody is doing really well. And the same thing when it comes to dating. When you come across a woman who's absolutely fucking exceptional, you're going to make a little extra effort to make sure your game is tight because you don't want to screw it up, which is a double-edged sword. It can cause you to be too nice and too compliant and display weakness because you're really hoping things don't go sideways versus a woman who you're just not that into. And if you give off the vibe that you're not so much necessarily not as into her, but causing her to feel like she's more into you than you are into her, then that's going to make her want to work more for your attention and validation and appreciate you more. And so this guy's doing really well, gets noticed, and this company offers him a job. And so the difference is he didn't go out looking for it. You know, it's the same thing like if you're trying to raise money for your company and you really need money, nobody wants to lend it to you. But when everything's doing real well and you don't need any money, people are going to be, hey, if you ever need me to invest in your company or you ever need some cash, I'd love to invest in it. Or when you're single and you haven't had a date in 6 months or a year, whatever it happens to be, and then you're trying to get a date and it's not going anywhere, versus you start dating a girl after those long periods of nothing ever really went anywhere, and now it seems like wherever you go, women like you and give you their number and express interest. So it's that abundance mentality that I talk about. That's why it's so important to focus on being your best in every area of your life. That means taking care of your body. That means having a good peer group of friends that often are better than you or more successful than you and in better shape than you, just because being around them is going to make you want to do better. Hanging out with people that have better quality relationships or date better quality women than most of the people that you hang out with. Little things like that help you to be better because you got people around you that have actually higher standards. So it's important in all areas of your life to constantly be trying to get better, because that's really what masculine energy is all about: purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, overcoming challenges, but also recognizing when your enthusiasm is waning. And so this particular client, he wasn't looking for a job. A new job actually just found him because he was exceptional at his last one. But in this particular one, he's, in the last several years, he's quickly continued to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak. When he started in the industry in a really lowly entry-level position, it didn't pay him jack, and he didn't have much responsibility. Now he's like one of the top producers in the company, but his enthusiasm is gone. And he's not liking the fact that he's getting up and going to work every day going, yes, I'm not really feeling it. And so he's having to force himself to do it. And because he's getting up now and going to work and he's not satisfied, it's making it harder for him to talk to and interact with women, because in the back of his mind, he's really not that excited about his life. He's not really that excited about his career like he had been a couple of years ago when he got this job. And so the difference this time is that he's still doing exceptional work, but nobody's come along to offer him some other position. And so in this particular case, he's actually going to have to take more action, go outside of his comfort zone and start, so what I did with him is that we made a list of all the things that he really loved and really enjoyed, because beginning of the session, he's thinking maybe I need to do a absolutely complete career change and do something else. And as I went through and I got all the things that he absolutely loved, because it was also hard for him. Because like when I talk to people, well, I like this or I like that. When I ask them, so tell me something that you love. Well, I like this. It's like, well, I don't want to hear about things that you like. I only want to put things on this list that you love. Because when you put things on your list that you just like, it'll take you in the wrong direction. And the more you can focus daily on things you love and enjoy and all the things that are most important to you, which these lists of things are unique to all of us, the more your career, your personal life, your social life allows you to do all the things that you love and enjoy, the more you're going to feel like you're doing what you're put in a cert to do, and the happier you're going to be, and the more fulfilled you're going to be. And so this particular guy, as we're talking and things come out, it's like, it's so interesting when I do this with people, because he's starting the phone session thinking, I'm going to probably have to go and do something completely different, a complete career change, and might require a huge pay cut to change industries. And so we get to the end of the list, and it's obvious by the things that he wrote down that he loves. He loves all the things that are, loves the construction industry, loves building, loves all the things that go along with the industry, loves negotiating, loves solving problems, loves working with people, loves meeting new people. And so there were some things that were part of his job that he wasn't really enjoying. And so the goal is to do more of the things you love and enjoy. And so now what he's doing, he's got all this experience, is now he's making a list of different employers in the industry because he's hungry. He wants more. He wants to learn more. And that, the company that he works for, he feels like he's kind of hit the ceiling. Like there's no more knowledge, no more wisdom that can be gained. And this is the same thing that I went through when I was in the construction industry. My very first job when I was 19, I was working as a carpenter's helper for about 3 months. We were building a boardwalk in this like marshy area. It was just imagine like 100-degree heat and thousands of bugs flying all around you, touching you, landing on you, flying into your ears, up your nose, on your face. And it's like, I remember when I first started working, it was a nightmare. It took about 3 days to get used to like thousands of little bugs touching you and landing on you. You could spray all the off and bug repellent that you want, but it was just the nature where we work, and this is where we had to be. And I absolutely hated it. It was just the dirtiest, nastiest, most difficult job, hauling big concrete pumping hoses around, and your foot goes down 2-3 feet into the mud and the muck, and it's like, and it smelled horrible in there. It was nasty. And so I did that for 3 months. That was my first experience working for somebody else in the construction industry. And then eventually, when I got to be, a couple years later, I was 22, I got a job as an unpaid intern working for a construction company, just doing like basic estimating, which was using some of the skills that I had actually learned in college in some of my estimating classes. And so Hurricane Andrew hit, they get all this work, and they needed people. And I was only there for I think a month working for free, and then they hired me full time. So I was driving to Miami, and then I worked for these guys for about a year and a half. And I just got to the point where it's like, I learned everything I could learn from them. They were kind of a small size construction company. And, I'd done the kind of projects that they were used to doing, and I wanted a bigger challenge. I thought maybe I might want to go into development work. There was a lot of unknowns because, again, I was like 22, 23 years old at the time. So I found a developer in Fort Lauderdale, and, it's all because of the list. I was sick of the drive to Miami, didn't like working on South Beach. The traffic was horrible. And I was living in Fort Lauderdale, and I wanted to find some place that was closer to home. Because when I started working for these guys, they were actually in Fort Lauderdale, but all their work ended up being in South Florida. So I eventually came across a developer, general contractor that did the kinds of work that I thought was interesting. And I worked for them for a year and a half, 2 years. Same thing. I kind of hit the ceiling and got to the point where I was bored going to work. I didn't feel like I had any more challenges or that there was really anything else these guys could teach me. And I was young and I was hungry. I was like, what's the next big thing? Well, I hadn't worked on any really big projects, and then eventually went to work for Syntex Rooney, working on a $160 million, what was that, a 300,000 square foot convention center, 2,000 hotel rooms. And that was a pinnacle. That's probably much in the construction industry, one of the largest size projects that you're going to work on. And, this particular project was a 2-year long project. And so the thing that was always consistent, that even to this day at 50 years old, is that when I'm not excited about something anymore, when I don't feel challenged, I start looking for the next thing, whether it's writing a new book or doing different types of videos, which you guys have seen with the documentaries that we're doing. I'm always looking for what's exciting, what's compelling, what's the next step, what's the next iteration, what more can I learn, where can I use my talent, my gifts, my skills, my reserve of knowledge to make a positive impact in the world. Because it's easy to just say, hey, why rock the boat? I got a steady paycheck, I got bills to pay, I got kids, I got a family, I got a mortgage. Well, the idea is you don't just up and quit your job. You keep working at what you're doing while you look for something better. And then once you have something better lined up and they give you your employment offer, that's when you go ahead and put in your 2 weeks notice. So it's a nice, smooth transition. So if you're in a similar situation where you kind of feel stagnant in your career or maybe your business, or you're thinking that maybe you need to make a lateral move, or you're just trying to figure out what your purpose is, this is one of the things that I help people at, because I've been through this dozens of times over the course of my life, whether it was when I was working for other people or the different companies and businesses I've had throughout my life, is that I've learned to trust my heart, my curiosity, my intuition, that when it's time to make a change, whether it's in my professional life or my personal life, I've learned to trust that. Because when I've gone against that, the results suck and they made me less happy. And I want to be happy, and especially at 50 years old. You know, I've lost so many, especially the last couple of years, I've lost so many people that were close to me. And it's like, the older you get, you really realize, it's like, wow, it's like somebody takes that hourglass, turns it upside down, and those little sands, the grains of sand are just running through that thing. Whether you're paying attention to it or not, your time is running out. The amount of time you got left is going like this. And so the question is, how do you want to spend it? Do you want to spend it doing fun things that make you excited to get up every day? Because the reality is, if you're more excited about your life, you're going to be more inclined to work out. You're going to be more inclined to ask that good-looking girl out that you see on a date. You're going to be more inclined to ask that new dude who you really enjoyed meeting and hanging out with to go hang out and start a new friendship. Or you come across somebody that's really excited about their job and they tell you all about it. And you go, wow. And he's like, we're hiring. Like, maybe I need to go down there and talk to those people. It's like, those opportunities are out there, but you have to go out and get it. Because the reality is, like this client of mine, if he was just to sit there and do nothing, his satisfaction is going like this. And the lower your level of satisfaction, you're not going to work as hard. And if you're not working as hard, then you're not that person that's the rising star getting noticed. You're somebody that's in decline. And so you always want to be expanding. You always want to be getting better, doing more, learning more, growing more, contributing more. So if you're in a place like that and you'd like to get my help to help find a way out of that and towards what you really want to be doing, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. And if you haven't read it yet, my book, Mastering Yourself, my second book, I go into like excruciating, long, just really detailed of all of the different jobs and careers and businesses that I've had. So if you go to understandingrelationships.com, subscribe to the newsletter, you can read that, because that will really help you as well, because you can use the blueprint that I've used for my life in your own life. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.